This is just for fun, but I came across a video of someone imitating JD Vance's attempt at interacting with other people as if he was one of them, right? I'm a person, I'm a normal person. Hello, greetings. And it's hilarious. So we'll look at that. The guy named Sam Khan posts on TikTok. And then I will show you some, we'll talk about I should say JD Vance's interview on Meet the Press. That's what it was this morning. So we'll get to that. But first, before the person imitating JD Vance pricelessly, I need to remind you of the donut shop video. They got everybody talking, just showing his struggles at coming off relatable, which actually is a pretty consequential part of this campaign, because a lot of what's so compelling about Vance's counterpart on the Democratic side, Tim Walz, is that he is such a regular guy in his energy, and he is able to relate to people. Meanwhile, JD Vance is doing this. So here's the original video, then we'll look at the imitation of it.
The zoo has come to town. Thank you for letting us come in here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm sorry, man? Okay, yeah. She doesn't want to be on film, guys, so just cut her out of anything. Appreciate that, man. I'm JD Vance. I'm running for vice president. Good to see you.
Okay.
How long are you working?
It'll never get old. I'm running for vice president. It's good to see you. Okay. Fine.
I've been here since the beginning of July.
Okay.
For this year.
Okay, good. How about you, sir?
Almost 2 years.
Okay, good. Just everything, yeah. I mean, a lot of glazed here, some sprinkle stuff, some of these cinnamon rolls, just whatever makes sense. How long has this place been around?
About 4 years.
About 4 years? Okay. How long have you been here?
A little over 6 months.
Okay, good.
He has the same response to everything, and he asks one question. How long have you been here? Okay, good. How about you? Okay, good. How long has this place been here? Okay, good. Oh, how about you? How long have you been here? It's almost like he's a detective, and there was a murder. Where were you last night? Okay, good. What about you? So here was a guy named Sam Khan who posted this video pretending to be JD Vance.
I'm enjoying a leisurely stroll in the park as a human does, and I thought I would interact with some other humans that I come across. Here comes one now. Hello, I'm JD Vance. I'm running for vice president.
Hi, it's nice to meet you.
So how long have you been walking for?
Today or in general?
Okay, good. Oh, wait. I think this is going pretty good so far. Oh, I spot a motherly figure with a smaller human being. Hi, I'm JD Vance. How old are you, little girl?
I'm 8.
8? Oh, wow, I was 8 once. How about you, Mom? Were you ever 8?
Was I ever 8?
Okay, good.
Mom, can we go home? Yes, honey, run to the car.
Oh, would you look at that? Another human being with a smaller creature attached to a leash.
We'll be right back to the video. All I gotta say is just subscribe if you're not already by clicking that subscribe button. Easy, free, but it makes all the difference. The majority of people who watch this show aren't subscribed. So if you want to make yourself no longer one of those people, do it. Thank you so much. Back to the video.
Hi, I'm JD Vance. What's that?
Are you asking what kind of breed he is?
For how long?
For how old he is or how long I've had
How
him?
long have you been walking?
I'm sorry, are you asking how our walk?
Okay, good. I love to mingle with the people. Here comes another one now. Hi, I'm JD Vance. How did you install those little wheels under your feet?
You mean my rollerblades?
Okay, good. So how long have you been walking?
Walking where?
Okay, good. My vessel is starting to crave food. I think the next person that I encounter, I'm going to ask them where a donut shop is. Hi, I'm JD Vance, vice president running. Nearest donut shop location, please.
That'll be Beanie's on 7th Street.
JD Vance rerouting. Thanks. Okay, good.
All right, have a good day.
Fantastic. Yeah. You know, between Mike Pence and JD Vance, Trump really does like to pick people with not much going on in the charisma department. But while a lot of this is shallow, petty, fun mockery, it does make a difference. And it's a part of why that weird label has landed so effectively. because it points to a lack of relatability. It points to someone who's not down to earth, who probably doesn't have your intentions in mind. And a part of why JD Vance was selected, as was Pence, is because we talked about this in a different segment. Trump has this insatiable need for attention. And so it's been reported on that when selecting someone to be his running mate, he cannot have someone who even momentarily would take away some of the spotlight from him. And if you pick someone who is super relatable, super likable, a great speaker, could rouse crowds, Trump would feel threatened by that, even if it would help his campaign, because the person would be doing it in the interest of him. But still, he can't have the spotlight taken away from him for even a second. And so he picks people like JD Vance, who have been taking the spotlight, but not really in positive ways. With that being said, while on the subject of JD Vance, I do want to talk about just briefly his interview with Kristen Welker. She asked a really good question. Why is Trump already, we know why, but casting preemptive doubt on the election results come November?
Move on to something that Donald Trump said in North Carolina and yet again Friday night.
Our primary focus is not to get out the vote. It's to make sure they don't cheat, because we have all the votes you need. You can see it.
Why is Donald Trump casting doubt on the election before it's even happened?
I don't think that's what Donald Trump is doing.
Well, that's what he's doing. That's what he says here. We need to make sure they don't cheat.
I think that what he's saying is that we want to pursue a set of policies in the Republican Party that make it easier for every legal ballot to be cast and counted, but make it harder for illegally cast ballots to be counted. Now, we can disagree about how many of those there are, whether there are a few hundred, a few thousand, maybe more, but
we can disagree on which reality we're living in, sure. But at the end of the day, we're just wanting election integrity. I saw someone respond to that clip saying something to the effect of, "Hey Siri, what is gaslighting?" And then Siri just links this video. Because it is, whenever you're defending Trump, especially if you have some intellectual...
I didn't get that.
Oh, that is funny. Siri actually... Listen to what I said. Whoops. If you have some intellectualism to ya, you can... And JD Vance actually... I don't know if he's good at this, but he's able to put in normal, seemingly thoughtful sounding rhetoric, bonkers stuff that if you were just half listening, you'd think, oh, he said something rational seemingly. But in reality, what he was defending was crazy. And we've seen this when he tries to, in a really level-headed way, explain away Trump's attempts to block the peaceful transfer of power. Really what he was trying to do was make sure the American people's voices were heard by ensuring the proper electors were legitimized through a congressional process that would give integrity to the process that we all hold dear. And you're deciphering what he's saying, and what he's saying is that a fraudulent slate of electors should have been counted. Huh? That's not what you're saying. What are you talking about? And a similar thing here. Trump goes, they're going to try to steal the election. And JD Vance's response is, yeah, really, I think what Trump's trying to say is that we, as Americans, not red, not blue, but red, white, and blue, but American, we have to, regardless of our party affiliation, care about the legitimacy of the vote. And really, if you listen closely, if you put a JD Vance ear to what Trump's saying, what you hear is someone who cares deeply about democracy, who cares deeply about our constitutional process, right? That's really, no, don't play the clip again. I don't want to hear it again. Just translate it that way. That's what he was trying to say. As Trump's just going off on his normal rantings about how millions of dead people are going to vote and all this nonsense. And then on Robert F. Kennedy Jr. now being supported by Trump and and RFK Jr. now supporting Trump is the big part of it, endorsing Trump, but they're appearing together and super supportive of one another. So Kristen Welker asked this question.
Let's move on. Robert F. Kennedy, the big news yesterday.
Very big news.
He suspended his campaign, announced he's endorsing Donald Trump. He is also known as someone who has blamed vaccines for autism, antidepressants for school shootings, and recently said, quote, he won't take sides on what happened on 9/11. Do you have any hesitation about accepting his endorsement?
No, Kristen, I don't, because we're going to disagree on issues, right? There are things that Robert Kennedy has said that I disagree with. I'm sure there are things that he's said, or that I've said, excuse me, that he's going to disagree with. But I think what his endorsement represents is that Donald J. Trump's Republican Party is a big tent party. I was raised by two grandparents who are sort of classic blue dog Democrats. They believed in having a border. They believed that, you shouldn't have censorship in the United States of America.
By the way, it's so annoying. I know both sides hyperbolize what the others say sometimes, but the old Democrats used to believe in having a border. You got us, JD. We don't want a... What are you talking about? Yeah, and he's referring to, let's say, Biden, Harris. They don't want a border according to JD Vance, but also all the numbers he's getting that he cites as to the magnitude of people coming to the southern border come from stats we get because a bunch of people are being stopped by law enforcement. So clearly our border is being enforced. It makes no sense.
Of America. They believed in common sense economic policies. They may have disagreed with Donald Trump about tax policy, but they believed in some fundamental American values. And I think what RFK's endorsement really shows is that the Kennedy Democrats are actually more at home in the Republican Party of Donald Trump. And unfortunately, Kamala Harris's party, higher prices, doing nothing to fight back against the Chinese, to say nothing of a wide open.
So on to more things, but just so y'all know, we have taken a competitive advantage on China, making gains on them we haven't seen in a really long time. They've stumbled in that competition economically in a major way for the first time in decades. In a way we haven't seen, I should say, in decades under Biden-Harris. In part because of Biden-Harris policies. So every time they say that, it's just sort of strange. In addition to the other things. And I will say the quote about not taking sides, just so y'all have the full context, it was a crazy statement. But the statement was the conspiracy theory. I'm not going to take sides on the conspiracy theories about what happened. You never know, right? That was the comment, as I bet you could guess, from RFK Jr., and yet another example of him being just right at home within conspiratorial spaces in MAGA. Then you have this on tariffs.
So when Kamala Harris says, if we do the thing that Trump already did, it's going to be way worse than it was last time, I just don't think that makes a lot of sense.
Well, let's talk about
Sure.
Trump's record during his first term. He did impose rounds of tariffs, and it cost Americans nearly $80 billion in new taxes. Do you acknowledge that imposing more tariffs will ultimately cost consumers?
Well, what it really does is it penalizes importers from bringing goods outside the country into the country. And I think that's just a necessary thing. We know that China and a number of other countries are using effectively slave labor to undercut the wages of American workers. Donald Trump thinks that has to stop. And again, what Kamala Harris is saying, Kristen, is that if you do this, you're somehow going to cause skyrocketing inflation. In reality, Donald Trump already did it. He brought a lot of jobs back, and it didn't cause inflation.
But it caused consumers to pay more. They paid more in taxes, $80 billion worth. Do you acknowledge that consumers ultimately will pay?
So they just sort of go round and round and round, and JD Vance says, well, some economists think blah, blah, blah. No. It's clear Trump's wacky proposal of 10% tariff across the board on all foreign imports would be disastrous for prices. It would cause an economic calamity. I don't know if he would actually implement that, but that's what he's floated previously. And then on the usage of tariffs, obviously, like so many things, they become super black and white, and the conversation has to be extra simple because the lie is so simple, so why not just debunk it and move on? But there is a complex conversation about what do we want to do about bringing supply chains to the United States. Which ones are crucial enough that we would want to do that? We wouldn't want to be as reliant on foreign countries. but we're willing to bear the increased costs because of it, because that's going to happen whenever you do it. The balancing of concerns of U.S. jobs with prices for U.S. consumers. And so wielding that power is often justified. You have to do it mindfully. A 10% tariff across the board is not the way you do it mindfully. But it's fascinating how Trump and Vance are trying to get away with, instead of acknowledging some of those things and then getting on to why they think the cost-benefit analysis would be correct, they just attempt to lie about what tariffs are and what they do. And Trump says that China will pay them. So sort of keeps the conversation in a pretty shallow place. Let me know what you thought of all that in the comments. If you want to get extra content daily and support this show, you can do it. You have the power with your finger. All you got to do is just click the join button below. We would love to have you.